Have you ever been in the situation where your LP runs out in the middle of the night and it's cold and your furnace shuts off and you say, "Where's my LP?" Well, today we're going to install an LP monitoring system which should take some of the mystery out of how much LP you actually have in your tanks. Plus, we're going to swap out the LP pigtails and put on a better hose. So stick around. A little bit of information about these LP pigtails. They're not all the same. You may see that they are listed as a quarter inch male NPT, or a quarter inch male flare. And there is a difference, and it usually comes in right here at the ends in the way that this connector is made. And this picture should be showing you the difference between the two right now. I'm going to replace my existing pigtails, which are a little over a year old, but frankly, the reviews are that these can go bad at an early stage, and you can see the angle of how these are bent, and the rubber has turned very hard. So I'm going to upgrade to a stainless steel braided pigtail, which is a little bit longer. I'm replacing the 12-inch with a 15-inch hose, and see how that works. The only tools you're going to need for this is a 14mm wrench right here to take off the old pigtail. And I've broken this loose. It was real tight to start with. The manufacturer had put some thread sealant on there. So when you're doing this on your own rig, take them off, and then the first thing you want to do is look at the end here, and you can see how this one is flat, straight across. If it's a quarter inch male flare, then the inside diameter is going to be recessed around this ring. Plus, it's going to be a different exterior diameter too, so it's just not going to fit at all. I purchased these pigtails off of Amazon, and I'll leave you a link down in the video description below. But with this particular manufacturer, they include a roll of this sealing tape here. You notice it's yellow, it's not white. White is for plumbing and yellow is for LP. And when you wrap it on the threads, wrap it in the same direction as if you'll be tightening the threads up. Before I connect the LP tanks to the new pigtails, I'm going to go ahead and install this MOPEKA LP monitoring system. This is the transmitter that goes on the bottom of the tank. This is your monitoring device here. Also, you can download the app, which is named Tank Check, and you can check this from your smartphone. Right here is the app. Going with these is two things. You have these little clips, which are spacers that go on the bottom of your tank, and this is to raise your tank up from a flat platform so that when the transmitter sends a signal, it won't be confined in that base plate. And this right here is some sonic grease is what they call this, and this will go on the bottom of the transmitter right here, which enhances the connectivity to the tank. So I'm going to install the spacers first, and then we'll activate the transmitter. Okay, I went through the process to sync these transmitters with my iPhone, and also to sync the transmitters with this receiving device here. I'm going to install this on the center of the tank says to take a little bit of this grease and put it on the rubber sensor. And that rubber sensor should be in the center of the tank. Let's see if it gives me a reading here. Tank is full, and that's what I expected. It should be full. Let's move over to the second tank here. This is my number 2 tank. And it says it's about a quarter of a tank, and that's about what I expected. So I'm going to install the tanks, and then we'll take a look at the smartphone app. While the tanks were laying on their side, I was getting an error in the smartphone app saying that it was low battery or incorrectly placed. I stood the tanks up and waited just a couple of minutes, and then the error went away. I'll get a better shot of this a little bit later, but it's showing the driver's side at 17%, curb side at 100%, and you can go into this little cog looking gear to change the name of your tanks, left to right, 1 or 2, whatever you'd like to do. Here's a look at the new Pigtails installed. The extra 3 inches, I think, eliminates a lot of the sharp bends. I did have to turn the tanks a little bit to allow it to fit better. Oh, while I'm here, I'll show you this little trick on my tanks. When I have them filled up, I'll just put a piece of tape on them and I put a date when it was filled up. That way it'll give you some indication of how long a tank is lasting. We're all done except to test the system. And we're going to cut on the fuel here in just a moment and go inside and test the stovetop burner and see if we're okay. But let me explain something on these Pigtails here, that there is a valve here that is what's called an excess flow valve. If it senses too much fuel flowing, it will shut off the system and not allow it to go out to your appliances. That can be tripped if you quickly turn on this valve here. So when you turn on this valve, do it slowly, like this. And then you can go inside and do your test. If you ever have a situation where you don't think LP is flowing to either your furnace or your refrigerator or even your stovetop, come back out to your tank, shut off this valve right here, and wait about 30 seconds to a minute. And then slowly open that valve, and then you should be okay. So let's go inside and get that test. Okay, I'm going to cut on, let it start running the, well, it comes right on. I thought there might be a little air in the lines, but there wasn't. A little bit of yellow there, but that is a good flame. I'm going to cut on the other one back there. Oh, and you can see that it just, all of a sudden, both of them stopped. There was some air in the lines. And the air came through and shut off the flame. All 3 burners are on. So that was a good lesson to learn there, that when there is air in the line, it will kill your flame. The air needs to be released. Light it, keep striking it until it lights back up. So we're all done. A couple of final notes before we wrap up. Just as an additional safety precaution, you can get a solution of soapy water in a spray bottle and spray these fittings that we just tightened here to ensure there's no bubbles there, indicating there may be a leak. If you ever smell LP, then you need to check your system for leaks. And when you're replacing your cover, you may not have a cover like we have on an Airstream here, but there will be some electrical wires and such Make sure that's all clear and that your cover is not going to chafe on that and eventually cut your wires and create some problems. Well, we're all done with these two upgrades. We replaced the pigtails on the LP tanks and we installed the MOPEKA LP monitoring system. I hope this helps you in making some decisions on future upgrades for your RV. And if you haven't already done so, please click that subscribe button and ring the little bell so you'll get notifications of all of my future videos. And until next time, thanks for watching.